Oh wow, this guy's so deep. So true. Really, MTGO Traders doesn't have all those staples? It seems like a beating, actually. Like, you'd think MTGO Traders is the one place that would have them all, but I guess they're also busy, because, you know, they're the one place that a lot of people go to. So we have Affinity versus our Zoo deck in our semifinals. This is our first semifinals of the evening, guys. You know, the Zoo deck it's basically I would say like it's more of a red-green deck, splashing white for Path to Exile, and also white source for Wild Mikado to make it a 3/3. But you know, we saw this deck last week in the top 8 of our month-end event. We see it again, different pilots. There was actually a few people playing the deck this week. There we go. White's also for the Loam Lion. But it seems like a more aggressive Zoo deck. It doesn't play Loxodon Smiters or Kitchen Finks or anything. Just very low curve, 1 and 2 drops. And we're going to see an Experiment 1 here, which is a 3/3 already on turn 2. Pretty impressive. You know, Zoo being on the... I think this matchup is very play-draw dependent, especially for Game 1. Game 2 and 3, when they side into more answers and stuff, maybe not, but Game 1 is definitely just the race, but Cranial Plating is huge at racing. It's also huge on a Vault Scourge, because Vault Scourge is lifelink. So that's a 7/1 lifelink right now. Not only is Miwei going to get in for 7 damage flying, actually 8 damage flying, it's going to gain him 7 life. And that definitely puts the race in his favor. So, our Zoo player is going to need to find answers to, you know, prevent the plating from connecting. You know, prevent the Vault Scourge from connecting, because Mayhew is at 23 life right now, above starting life, and that was after he took 3 damage on turn 3. Gutshot 1 time is being declared. Gutshot would be a powerful card. You know, people can afford Gutshots now because it got reprinted in Modern Masters too. It was pretty pricey beforehand, but thank God they reprinted that. There's a Path to Exile coming down now. So Path's gonna kill the Vault Scourge. Gonna stop Miwei from gaining life. Or Mayhew. Man, I'm the worst at pronouncing names, but anyways. Not gonna stop the cranial plating though. Ornithopter does a good job carrying the plating. It's a flyer. Mayhew's gonna win this, you know. Zoo players had enough here. Was gonna take that turn was gonna be 8 damage coming through again. Actually, that was lethal. I forgot that you're so low, but that is actually lethal coming across. So they're gonna go to sideboard now. The Zoo deck, we'll see what kind of cards they have for Affinity. One card that would be very good is Ancient Grudge. We'll see how many of those they're playing. I'm trying to think of other cards they might have. Pyroclasm could be a good one. Even though this Zoo deck has a lot of creatures that are, you know, low creatures, and you would think that Pyroclasm wouldn't be good in a deck with a lot of creatures, but most of the creatures here are 3 toughness. Crudape, Wild Mikado, Experiment 1 you want to be a 3/3 most of the time. So Pyroclasm could be a potential card that could be brought in. Trying to think of what Affinity would have against a Zoo deck. Probably not too much. I'm not sure if Blood Moon would be good against the Zoo deck. Maybe on the play, not on the draw as much. But I would assume that, you know, Zoo would be the one that would have more cards to side in. Affinity doesn't always need to sideboard that much because it's just such a powerful deck. You don't want to dilute it that much. You have all these cards that but usually bring in like maybe 2 or 3 cards because, you know, your core deck is already so powerful. Chalice of the Void potentially could be brought in. Chalice would be good against the all 1-drop deck, but not effective on the draw though. Chalice for 1 costs 2 mana. So unless you can get 2 mana on turn 1, which it is doable in Affinity, but it is unlikely. You need to go like 0-drop, Mox Opal, Darksteel Citadel, or a land and 2 0-drops plus Opal. So it looks like these players are both really thinking about their sideboard. Stony Silence, Kataki. Those are cards that the Naya player could bring in against Zoo. Cards you don't see too much anymore because they're very targeted toward just Affinity. And Affinity is not the most popular deck, I would say right now for Magic Online. Yeah, I remember Kataki used to be the go-to card to just get Affinity. Sometimes they can be effective, sometimes not. Well, before, when all the lands in Affinity were artifact lands, Kataki was huge because, you know, you could pay for your creatures, but then your lands would die. But now that there's Glimmer Void, Nexuses, you know, even an island, your lands can actually pay for your artifacts, but definitely losing your artifacts does tie you down. It still is an effective card, just not game ending like it used to be. Let's see if we can load this up. Sending an error report. Hey, man, Magic Online is just giving me this error. God, I hate this. Sorry about that. We're full blown into game 2 while we were just waiting there. So the Zoo player looks like it's gone down some creatures early. Even used the Gore Clan, forced through some damage. The Affinity player, on the other hand, hasn't been able to attack really. I think most of this damage has been dealt by the Zoo itself. You know, Etched Champion having to play defense now because Mayhew's at 6 already. Master on top. That would be a good draw. But I think there's going to need to be some chump blocks here. So Eidolon's going to die to the Etched Champion. Chump blocking both. I believe they're chump blocks anyways. I guess Welding Jar could be used, but... I feel like Welding Jar maybe should have been used there. I might be wrong though. The thing is, like, to get the 3 mana to play the Master, you're gonna need to tap the Etched Champion now. And blockers are relevant because of the life total and the amount of creatures in play. There's a Spellskite coming down. That's a good blocker. This might stop Sokanel's attack here. But, I mean, if Sokanel has something like Gore Clan Rampager, it would still be lethal. Gore Clan can't be redirected to Spellskite. What is this? An Atarka's Command? Destructive Revelry, that's pretty good. Now, Welding Jar is going to be used on it. Does the 2 damage happen? Yeah, the 2 damage still happens, even if the artifact isn't destroyed. So, and Regenerate does tap it, so effectively removing the blocker still dealing 2 damage. Basically did what it wanted to do. There we go. Sokanel's wins. We're gonna go to game 3. Hopefully we don't miss much of game 3. And Moto, sometimes Moto just is frustrating. It's supposed to automatically load game 3, but... There we go. This game loaded right away. I don't know. What can you do? Sometimes Moto, it's a little buggy. Does its own thing. Here we go. So, Affinity didn't have an explosive start there. Just one land, Ornithopter. This must mean that the turn 2 on Affinity would be bigger. There's a Steel Overseer. So this is not the fastest start from Affinity, but it does seem like the Affinity player did mulligan here. Mulligan down to 5, I believe. So that is relevant. Memnite being revealed. 0 mana, but not a land, unfortunately. But Master would be good if it can come down next turn, if there is a 3rd land. Sacred Foundry, what's going to be played here? Is it going to be an Eidolon? No? Destructive Revelry coming down the Overseer, that's big. You know, these are the sideboard cards that we were mentioning. I said Ancient Grudge would have been good, but Destructive Revelry, 2 mana to destroy target artifact and deal 2 damage. It's definitely a good deal. I see Blinkmoth coming in for 1. No 3rd land to play the Etched Champion yet. I wonder if Sokanels is going to be able to take advantage of, you know, the Affinity's mulligan, not so powerful starts. There's 2 more 1-drops. That's pretty good, as long as Mayhew doesn't hit the Etched Champion. That's the big part. Springleaf Drum revealed. Springleaf Drum means that Etched Champion won't come down next turn, but the turn after it could. So, not exactly Etched Champion, but, you know, it means that Sokanels is going to have 1 more turn of attacking with, you know, 3 2-power creatures, maybe even, this might be a 3-power creature, but after that, Etched Champion's a really good blocker. But we saw in Game 2, Etched Champion wasn't enough, you know. Sokanels just went wide enough with enough creatures that it didn't matter. The attack for 1? Yeah, the attack for 1 with Nexus, you gotta do something. It's better than doing nothing. But yeah, not having the Etched Champion that turn was huge. There's another Curative coming down. We've seen attack for 3 now, or for 7, sorry. There's the Darksteel Citadel. That's probably a turn too late. Yeah. Affinity is not likely to draw lands off the Goblin Guide because of the low land count, because it plays Stringleaf Drum and Mox Opal as sources of mana, but they don't count as lands. So some people would say that, oh, it was really unlucky that they didn't reveal any lands off a Goblin Guide, but Affinity is one of the decks with the fewest amount of lands in Modern. Let's see what comes down here. An Eidolon? There's an Eidolon. That's pretty good also. You know, Etched Champion can come down, but it's going to cost 2 life. There's a Master of Ethereum instead. That's a chump. I mean, not a chump blocker. It's a good blocker. It's a 5/5 right now, but there's too many creatures on the board. I think this is going to be a lethal attack. Blinkmoth Nexus to make colorless mana. I'm not sure exactly what would be enough to prevent Mayhew from dying here. I think we're going to have Sokanels move on to the finals. If I'm not incorrect. Thought the cast revealed. The GGs are coming down. Good luck in the finals. Mayhew being a good sport. Sokanels moving to the finals with his aggro Zoo deck. Congratulations.